So Eric is the founder of Open Doors organization, and he was going to be here, but he had a family emergency, and so he's going to join us virtually.
I'm really here to talk about IATA really fast. I'm going to go through IATA is the International Air Transport Association, and I think I've heard they're like the largest nonprofit other than the Catholic Church, but they're the big association for aviation worldwide, and they've decided that accessibility was going to be on their screen. And in 2019, I went to Seoul, Korea to present to all the CEOs of the world carriers, and they embraced it and started a whole initiative through IATA. So a couple of things they're doing is they have a passenger access process, a passenger accessibility process task force, and they're working on SSR codes. A lot of times things go sour when you're traveling by air because the SSR codes, which are special service requests, aren't noted properly, and airlines don't share them. They don't use them the same. There's a long story behind that. They also have the IATA ADRM, which is really just a review of their manual, of their process manual, and including disability in that. So that's a really cool thing from IATA. And they have a big event coming up in November in Prague, which might interest some of you too. And for those of you in Florida, I should tell you that we almost hosted Destinations for All, the World Summit on Accessible Travel and Tourism in Miami, but we canceled it because of COVID. So if you're interested, maybe we should talk about doing it again sometime, because I love everything that's going on in Florida. The IATA task force that I'm part of is on damaging wheelchairs, scooters, and other assistive devices. And we don't think that it's something that we can fix. It's not a permanent fix. It really takes the wheelchair manufacturer, the insurance companies, and the aircraft manufacturers to make it happen. Because when you tie down a wheelchair in an aircraft, or you put it in an aircraft, you have a lot of different things to think about, like batteries, what happens during an accident to the batteries, what happens to all those screws and plates and everything that come off the chair when an accident happens. So really, we're really going to have a hard time not damaging chairs as long as the as long as the airplane manufacturer, the insurance companies, and the wheelchair manufacturers cannot get a design where they build a reinforced aircraft so that it can hold a chair safely and be tied down and strapped down. And that's really the problem. We see less damage in Europe because they tie down most chairs on pallets. But in the United States, we can't do that, because if we did that, if we had more than one chair, we'd have to start kicking luggage off. And we can take up to 10 chairs in the United States. Well, in Europe, they can actually deny you boarding. They can take one chair if that's all they can fit. But they don't have the amount of damage that we have. There is a new thing. Open Door started about 2008. It's called Global Repair Group. And what I did is my scooter got damaged, and it was a pain in the butt to fix it. And basically what I did is it took forever for American to fix it, and then they just wrote me a check. Instead, we built a company called Global Repair that does the wheelchair repairs for most of the US major carriers and many foreign carriers. And it's like Domino's Pizza. So if something does break, you should feel confident, if you're with Global Repair, that our folks are going to take care of you. And you should know that it's for the people, by the people. So you should know that going into it. All right, I think that's about it. I kind of just glossed through IATA and aviation, but I know that you guys in Florida have been talking a lot about marketing and stuff. It's a tough group to market to because we don't have one face. If you look at our demographics, the face is older. And you ask about marketing directly towards people with disabilities, but what kind are you going to market directly toward? Do you put kids in, adults, both, everything? What kind of disabilities? Everybody's disability is so different. I like the idea of thinking locally and doing some things locally if you can, and getting some local people involved. And I like what Josh said there too. And I want to say one more thing about our study. It's been said here a couple times, and I love it. The last 3 studies we did, everything in the hotel room, each time the number one obstacle was the doors being heavy. John mentioned it, Mr. Kleiman mentioned it, everybody's mentioned it about the doors being heavy and how hard it is to get through. If you could just help getting the door and things like that. Our study says that it's the number one thing, and nobody really pays attention to it, yet I did hear it throughout this entire event. Anyway, thank you guys all. For Jake, great job. Hopefully bigger and better next year, and the year after, and the year after that. So thank you everybody for attending.